In this DMZ guide, I'm going to be showing you how to get the M13B from the Chemist within the map. This is actually a special variant of the M13B and can only be found in DMZ, and the best part is you get to permanently unlock the base M13B and you can use it all across Warzone and multiplayer and DMZ of course. Sadly you can't permanently unlock the variant that the Chemist drops, which really is annoying, but regardless you'll get your own M13B to pimp out however you want to. The health hazard, which is the name of the variant that the Chemist drops, can only be kept as contraband, so if you want another one of that exact variant, you'll have to go and do this all over again. However, I'm sure one day it'll probably be a permanent unlock, but regardless, the M13B on its own is good enough. I also need to preface this, if you and your friends are trying to get the M13B, it's not only one person needs it and everybody in your squad gets it, you all need to do it separately. So if you've got 3 friends you're playing with, you are going to need to do this 3 separate matches, and each individual person who doesn't have the M13B is going to have to go and grab it and exfil with it. So get ready to gear up and go into the DMZ. Now there used to be this old method where you could just run the Chemist over, but that doesn't work anymore. And so I'm going to be giving you 2 methods, one that's co-op and one that's solo. Both of these methods are going to help you get this weapon as stress-free and easily as possible. But that doesn't make this a cakewalk. What this is going to involve is going into a radiation zone, which is in every game of DMZ you play. It looks like this on the map, finding a boss target called the Chemist, taking them down, picking up their weapon, and then exfilling safely with the weapon in your backpack or equipped. Just as long as it's in your inventory in some way, shape or form and you exfil with it, then you'll be totally fine and you will unlock the M13B. Problem is, the radiation zones are one of the most dangerous areas in the map. And so for these methods, I'm going to recommend going into these with a certain loadout. You don't really have to follow it, but I sure as hell do recommend it, because if you don't have this stuff, it's going to make your life way more difficult. And those things are a level 2 or 3 armor plate vest. Now obviously the more armor that you can stuff into that bad boy is going to be better, so 3 is what you want to be getting, but 2 is passable, especially if you co-op. But if you want to be extra careful, make sure you have 3 armor plates, because it's really important to wear protection. Also, I'm recommending a self-revive and or a revive pistol field upgrade. If you can find both of them, that's great, and if not, and you can only get one, then you should be fine, so long as you don't fumble the bag. Now a gas mask isn't 100% necessary, because if you kill an enemy in the radiation zone, most likely they're going to drop a gas mask and you can just run and pick it up, kill another enemy, pick up their mask, and you can keep doing this and basically get enough gas masks stowed away in your backpack for when they're needed, because after the patch, gas masks don't last long at all. If you can bring one in, that's great. Better yet, you might be able to find rad blockers on the way to the radiation zone. Same with a gas mask. If you're wanting to find those two, look in medical cabinets, as well as first aid kits. If you can get a full checklist of all of that stuff going into this, then that's going to be really good for you. It's going to be really helpful, and really it boils down to the more of this stuff you check off and make sure you have with you, the easier and smoother this is going to be. Now let's start with the solo method. For the loadout here, you're going to want to be using a sniper. That is going to be what you are taking down the Chemist with. In my gameplay, I use the MCPR 300. It's a nice, trustworthy, reliable bolt action, and it packs quite a punch, so I used it as my insured weapon. If you die, you'll be able to get that back, and plus you're gonna want it to be a custom sniper because it needs to have a suppressor really. The less noise you make whilst doing this, the better, and that applies to both AI and real players. But overall, just use what you feel comfortable with, but I do recommend that suppressor. As for your secondary weapon, you don't really need one. That's because you're not going to be staying and fighting. This is going to be a very quick, smooth operation. However, if you do want to take a secondary weapon to either dispose of, or if you have a medium or large backpack and therefore you can carry that extra weapon, then for a secondary, basically just go with something that you can rely on. Maybe like a shotgun for close encounters, or an AR in case things get a little dicey. For your tactical, the spotter scope is an absolute must. This is going to be very useful for you, and a big part of this strat is going to be relying on being able to gather intel. For your lethal, a throwing knife does the trick pretty well. You can actually use it as a melee weapon to be able to deal more damage to enemies, and if you get into a panic, you can throw it and do some serious damage, if not, even just kill the enemy outright. And for your field upgrade, if you don't have a revive pistol, then I would go with something like Battle Rage. It can replenish your health and your super sprint. Okay, now that you're all ready, it's time to actually deploy. When I spawned in my game, I was lucky enough to find a train, and that's how I got a lot of loot. However, this definitely isn't necessary, especially if you get the armor carrier, the gas mask, the self-revive, all of that stuff pre-radiation zone. I'm gonna say it's a good idea to get all of this stuff going into the match, because whilst you're trying to kill the Chemist, so are other people, because people want the weapon and they want the loot in the radiation zones. So ideally, once you spawn in, go straight to the radiation zone as quickly as you can. Be very careful when you're trying to get from your spawn to the radiation zone. It's DMZ and anything can happen. If you spawn quite far away from the radiation zone, it's probably a good idea to just get a vehicle and drive there. But if you're on foot, you may as well just sneakily make your way there, stay nice and low, and not draw any attention to yourself. I've always found that parachuting seems to be a pretty nice way of travel. You've now made it to the radiation zone. The next step now is to find high ground. It's important to have a vantage point over the area, so the higher ground you can get, the easier this is going to be for you. And if you're super lucky and you have this spawn exactly that I have in the gameplay here for your radiation zone, there's this antenna tower that you can climb and get a perfect vantage point for what you're about to do next. If you don't have this spawn, which chances are you most likely don't, try and get on a roof of some kind or a hill of some kind. There will be something. And now that you're in position far enough away from enemies to not be seen, you're going to want to pull out your spotter scope, toggle it to thermal, and just have a look around for people. Once you start getting the heat signals from the thermal, turn off the color and zoom in at them. You're looking for the Chemist. They have a bright yellow hazmat suit on and they're holding the really distinguishable M13B in its own variant. It's yellow and black, has a big bulky grenade launcher on it. It's really easy to spot, and once you find the Chemist, you're going to want to mark them just so you know where they are, because now this is where it gets difficult. When you're ready, you need to headshot the Chemist 2 times. The problem with this is, once you shoot them once, they're going to pop a smoke and you're going to have to concentrate on where they're going to move. Getting that first shot is pretty easy, but the second one is why I told you to mark them with the spotter scope, because they have the little red diamond above them, so you can guess a little easier as to where they've gone and you can track them a lot better. So you're going to want to shoot the Chemist a second time, and when you've done that, they'll be down for the count, they will be killed, and they will have dropped their signature weapon. You've now got to make your way to the Chemist's body to pick up the weapon. You're probably going to have a lot of enemies shooting at you right now, and so this would be a good time to pop that battle rage and start running outside of the radiation zone. You're going to want to be running around in zigzags, dolphin diving, whatever it is you have to do to avoid them bullets. And there you'll have your M13B. But it's not over yet. You're going to have to extract from the DMZ without dying. And only then, once you manage to do that, will you unlock your M13B. And of course, you'll get the health hazard variant as contraband. And now for the co-op method. For this, you're going to need 2 or more people, obviously the more the merrier though. This strat is similar to the solar one in the sense that you need a sniper. So as far as loadout goes, the spotter scope is a must again, the sniper is a must, and preferably the 2 or 3 slot armor vests, a gas mask and a self-revive, although you do have friends with you, so if you're all well coordinated, this should go fine. Whichever one of your mates is the best shot, make sure they're the one with the sniper. So you're all going to spawn into a game, and what you're going to be looking for is a light helo, aka a chopper. When me and my friend were in a game, we found a chopper just at this airport here, and you can go on your map and look around for the helicopter icon. You're bound to find one at some point. Once you found your helo, make sure the person with the sniper is sat in the back, and that one of you is piloting the chopper. Now that you're all buckled up, make sure you take off and head to the radiation zone. Use your spotter scope to find the Chemist, and now get ready to hit those 2 shots, and in my gameplay, I managed to hit him, but then I just got closer and sprayed him with an AR. Regardless, the job was done. You can now parachute down, grab his weapon, and your friend that's in the chopper should land down next to you, ready to pick you up, and you can all escape. Now all you need to do is fly over to an exfil zone and make sure you successfully extract with your M13B. And if for some reason you're wanting to go in guns blazing, then the advice I can recommend for that kind of method would be stick together with your teammates. There is no point in doing it on your own. It's going to be really risky. Make sure as you're killing enemies you're stowing gas masks, because depending on how long it's going to take you and your friends to kill the Chemist and get the weapon, you're going to be burning through gas masks. Make sure you're taking full advantage of cover, and what I mean by that is that you're constantly in cover more than you're out of it shooting, because it can result in some really easy downs. I'm sure you know how powerful the bots are in DMZ. I mean, I'm almost convinced that our bullets are loaded with kryptonite and that's the only reason they die, and so you want to be in cover, peeking out and shooting the Chemist, then going back in straight away, armor plating up, or whatever it is you need to do, and most importantly of all, waiting for your health to fully recover. It's easy to be impatient and want to peak again, but it is not worth it. It's got me killed so many times in DMZ. When me and my friend did get an M13B this one time, we were very underprepared for it and I died a lot. But something really interesting happened. The chemist was running after my friend, trying to kill him, and whilst that was happening, I saw opportunity. I came up to the chemist and decided to try a finisher, and it worked. So this is a really good way to do it. If one of your friends can distract the chemist and get the chemist to focus fire on them, all one of you need to do is go behind them and do a finisher so long as they're distracted by the other person. And if you're going guns blazing and you're trying to pull that off, I think that's a really good way to do it. And there you have it. There are 3 methods there to help you efficiently get your M13B. But anyways, I'm going to leave this DMZ guide here today. If you enjoyed or found this helpful, be sure to smash the like button, comment your thoughts on the M13B, and any strategies that you have that you want to share with other people. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, you won't regret it. Turn on the notification bell too to stay notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.